Hi there guys, how are we all doing? I hope we're all doing okay this morning. My name is Tim and today we are going to be looking a little bit further into our Gate Guardian deck that we've been covering for the past couple of weeks by looking at some of the combos as such that you can do with this Gate Guardian deck. Now I use combos in inverted commas because Gate Guardian doesn't really have like combo lines as such. Basically what you're trying to do with Gate Guardian is get a variety of pieces of Gate Guardian either into your hand, onto the field, or into the graveyard. And the way that what we're going to be covering today is the ways that the deck allows you to do that sort of thing as you're playing through the game. So yeah, that's what we're going to be covering today, is how those cards all interact to be able to get these pieces of Gate Guardian to the places where you want them to be. So with that, if you're excited for this video, then please do subscribe down below, like the video, comment down below what you think of Gate Guardian. I am looking into sort of more cards which could go with Gate Guardian as well in the future. And yeah, if we could get to 250 subscribers by the end of the year, that is my goal. It would be fantastic if we could manage that. We're about halfway there, almost halfway there. So I'd be really pleased if we can manage to get to that. So without further ado, let's get on into the combo guide. So I've laid out all of the cards in front of me which have got sort of pathways to being able to get Gate Guardian into your graveyard, hand, or field. These are the three places in which you can summon Gate Guardians combined. From Gate Guardians combined has the effect of being able to special summon itself from the extra deck by banishing the Kazajin, Sangra of the Thunder, and Suijin from your hand, field, and or graveyard. So you can do a little bit of everything. All of the other fusion monsters require you to banish them from the field only. So it's Gate Guardians combined that we're going to be going into the majority of the time, because getting them onto the field in the early game is a little bit more tricky than getting Gate Guardians combined out, because you can have it in your hand or graveyard as well. So the first obvious way of being able to get pieces of Gate Guardian, we're looking for all three pieces of Sangra of the Thunder, Kazajin, and Suijin. So the first way is obviously we draw them. So if we draw these into our hand during our turn one, that's great. It is a piece obtained. Now we only play 2 copies of them in the deck because we've got a number of ways of being able to get them back from banishment after we've summoned Gate Guardians combined. So there's no real reason to play them at 3. Plus, if you draw into like 2 copies of Suijin on your first turn, then that's a little bit of a brick, because that's a little bit more tricky to get around, because then you're looking at trying to get 6 copies of them rather than just 3 copies. So drawing into them, you play them at a 2 off so that you've got access to them at any time. You can just draw into them on your first turn. There's a pretty decent chance that you will draw into at least one of them because you've got 6 of them in the deck. Next up, we're going to talk about the actual engine of the deck. So we're going to talk about Labyrinth Heavy Tank to start with. Labyrinth Heavy Tank is a card which can be normal summoned without tributing. So this is one of your 2 normal summons in the deck. The other normal summon is Elemental Hero Prisma. So those are pretty much the only 2 cards that you are going to be normal summoning in this deck. But this one can normal summon itself without tributing, which is fantastic. You don't need to spend the 2 tributes in order to be able to get this on the field. It just cannot attack the turn that it is normal summoned, which is not always going to be a problem. And then during your main phase, you can place one of your Sangra of the Thunder, Kazajin, or Suijin that is banished or in your hand or deck face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, which is just the perfect way of being able to just get it onto your field, which then allows you, because it's on the field, you can go into one of the smaller Gate Guardian cards if need be. So this requires it to be on the field, so you can pick specific cards to go into those. But just having it on the field as a continuous spell is also, it's on the field, so you can use it for Gate Guardians combined. And then all 4 of these cards here have exactly the same effect of being able to banish this card from your graveyard in order to be able to add a Sangra, Kazajin, or Suijin that is banished or in your deck to your hand. And then I think, pretty sure all of them add to the hand. Yep, all of them add them to the hand. So you can take one that is banished already. That's, like I say, we've got ways of recovering from banishment. So just being able to get those back into our hand. But you do need to get these into the graveyard in the first place, which is obviously you either need to use them to get them into the graveyard, or we do have ways of putting them in the graveyard as well. Next up, for the actual engine of the deck, we've got Labyrinth Wall Shadow, our field spell. So monsters cannot attack the turn that they are summoned, except for monsters whose original level is 5 or higher. Once per turn during your main phase, you can place one of your Sangra the Thunder, Kazajin, or Suijin that is banished or in your hand or deck face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. So it's exactly the same effect as Labyrinth Heavy Tank, in that you can just grab one out of your deck or wherever they happen to be and place it on your field as a continuous spell. And the important thing about this is as well, it is not once per turn. So you can do this, well, it's once per turn, it's a soft once per turn. So you can, if you've got multiple copies of Labyrinth Wall Shadow, or your Shadow Ghoul of the Labyrinth, which allows you to search for Labyrinth Wall Shadow, you can you can put multiple copies onto your field. And that way you can also summon a smaller Gate Guardian piece as well, because you've got them on the field instead. So Labyrinth Wall Shadow, fantastic card, and the fact that it is only a soft once per turn is just unbelievable. It's absolutely fantastic. Okay, so that covers all of the engine for the deck. Now we're going to go into the non-engine. Very simple one, Burial from a Different Dimension. Target up to 3 banished monsters, return them to the graveyard. Ironically, we put 3 monsters in the banishment to summon Gate Guardians combined, and just being able to return them straight to the graveyard is fantastic, to be able to just summon out another Gate Guardians combined on your follow-up turn or anything like that. So Burial from a Different Dimension, I like it as a one-off in the deck. It is cuttable, and it probably will be cut when I get my hands on some other potential support that can be used in the deck. Exactly the same as Prey of the Jiragumo may be cut in future for me as well. Next up, we have Fusion Deployment, the next most simple one on the board. So you can reveal a fusion monster from your extra deck and special summon from your hand or deck one of the fusion materials whose name is mentioned on that monster. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except for fusion monsters the turn that you activate this card. So this is the only card in the deck which locks you into anything. So it's important to note that you will be locked into fusion monsters for the turn, and it's retroactive as well. So you can't have already link summoned or anything like that in order to then activate Fusion Deployment. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except for fusion monsters this turn. So if you do draw Fusion Deployment, remember that you're not going to be able to go into your link plays as well during that time. But Fusion Deployment, easy special summon from the deck, quite simple. You're able to get any copy, whichever you want, of Sangra, Suijin, or Kazajin. It doesn't matter. But Fusion Deployment, absolutely fantastic. Now we're going to go into Magician Souls and Elemental Hero Prisma, because these are the two which are, I guess, slightly more complicated with how they work. So let's go into Elemental Hero Prisma to start with. So Elemental Hero Prisma has the effect of once per turn, you can reveal a fusion monster from your extra deck and send one of the fusion materials whose name is mentioned on that card from your deck to the graveyard. This card's name becomes the sent monsters until the end phase. So, two important things to note with Elemental Hero Prism. One, that is a cost. You're sending your copy of Sangra, Kazajin, or Suijin to the graveyard as a cost for this, which means that that part cannot be negated. The part that can be negated is this card's name becoming the sent monsters until the end phase, which is just fantastic. It makes Elemental Hero Prisma a better normal summon than Labyrinth Heavy Tank, because even an effect Veiler or anything like that, if you've activated the effect, you paid the cost, so you've sent it to the graveyard, and then if they effect Veiler too late, then it's tough. It's already in the graveyard. But if you do get the effect of being able to change Elemental Hero Prisma's name as well, then you've also got 2 copies for the rest of that turn. You've got him and you've got the one that's in your graveyard, which means that whatever you send, you can then use. If you've got a spell or continuous spell or trap as well, you can send both of those to the banish in order to summon a little one. And then if you can manage to get 4 pieces, then you can probably also get a Gate Guardians combined as well. So that is a great way of being able to get 2 Gate Guardian cards on your side of the field. And of course, we use a Hero Lives in order to be able to summon Elemental Hero, an Elemental Hero monster. So you control no face-up monsters, pay half your life points to special summon 1 level 4 or lower Elemental Hero from your deck. So your first port of call is a Hero Lives into Elemental Hero Prisma, and then you can go off from there. So Elemental Hero Prisma is the best normal summon in the deck, but also you've got a way of special summoning it as well, which is fantastic. And then finally, Magician's Souls. So Magician's Souls has got a number of ways in which you can use the effects of Magician's Souls to get what you need. So Magician's Souls is specific in what it can obtain for you. It can only obtain a copy of Kazajin. It cannot obtain a copy of any other, of Suijin or Sangra the Thunder. You must use Kazajin when it comes to special summoning Magician's Souls. So you can use, send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster, which is the reason it has to be Kazajin, from your deck to the graveyard in order to special summon Magician's Souls. We don't play any Dark Magicians in the deck or anything like that. So yeah, being able to special summon this card and just send Kazajin to the graveyard is fantastic. Which is also a cost of that effect as well. So yeah, you can use this as a cost to be able to get Kazajin in the graveyard plus a level 1 on the field, which then allows you to go into a relinquished anime, or if you've also got Elemental Hero Prisma, you could also link into something like an SP Little Knight if you've got SP Little Knight, or you can link your way into a variety of different things. You also have the effect with Magician's Souls of being able to send 2 spell or traps from your hand or field to the graveyard in order to draw that many cards. So if you draw into these on your first turn, these engine cards aren't that great on your first turn because double attack Wind and Thunder requires is a pop of an opponent's card, which if you're on your first turn, most likely they've not got a card on the field unless they've summoned something like a Bestial or something. Miroku Guardian requires you to be able to attack, and it requires your life points to be lower. So again, not all that useful on your first turn. Dark Element is exactly the same unless you've tributed off a Gate Guardian monster, I suppose. And Prayer Jiragumo is probably the only one that is actually useful as being able to set as a follow-up for your opponent's turn. So if you summon out the Magician's Souls, you can send these guys to the graveyard and then use their graveyard effects to be able to get another copy of a Gate Guardian onto your side of the field. So Magician's Souls, really useful for having the double effect. And with that, we've got several ways of being able, we've got a line basically of being able to get to it, which is Preparation of Rites to be able to add a level 7 or lower ritual monster, which is Illusion of Chaos. And then Illusion of Chaos can search for a non-ritual monster that mentions Dark Magician, which is Magician's Souls. So you reveal Illusion of Chaos, search for your Magician's Souls, and then pop Illusion of Chaos back onto the top of your deck because you're not going to need it for anything else. We're not ritual summoning it or anything else. So pop it on top of your deck because you're then going to be shuffling your deck anyway in order to use Magician's Souls effect when you send to the graveyard. So those are your lines of being able to get into Gate Guardian. So essentially, when you draw at the start, you want 3 versions of this, essentially 3 options here. So Fusion Deployment plus Labyrinth Wall Shadow plus Labyrinth Heavy Tank. That is guaranteed to get you into a Gate Guardian combined. So that's what you want to be drawing on your first turn, and that's where you go from them. So you have to look at this deck in terms of where are my pieces of Gate Guardian? Where are they coming from? And what do I use to summon it out? And the deck when you start looking at it like that, the deck becomes fairly consistently able to summon Gate Guardian combined. There's only a few times where I've not been able to get out Gate Guardian combined on my first turn. And Gate Guardian combined has a negate and destroy of anything which targets cards on your side of the field, which includes your Labyrinth Wall Shadow as well. So yeah, it's really useful for that. Plus then you've got your Magician's Souls and potentially Elemental Hero Prisma. If you've summoned both of those out, you can go into something like an IP Masquerade. You can go into something like a Cross Sheep, which gets you a little bit of card advantage if you've got a fusion summoned monster on your side of the field point where Cross Sheep is pointed. You can go into a Relinquished Anima, so you're able to yoink a monster if it's your turn too. So you've got plenty of avenues there to be able to do something. So with that, thank you very much everybody who has tuned in. I hope that this has helped a little bit with how to play Gate Guardian. We will be looking, like I say, at more support. I believe that like the White Forest cards work really well with Gate Guardian. I need to look a little bit more into it. But yeah. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Please do subscribe down below if you have enjoyed this content. Next week, we are going to be opening up a booster box of Infinite Forbidden. So stick around for that. And then we've got more deck profiles and combo guides coming up in the lead up to the ban list at the end of August. Thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Bye.